Hey, Dr. Berg here. In this video, we're going to talk about protein and the different types of protein. I always get this question, what type of protein should I consume? And so let me just kind of go through some things with you. We have red meat right here, and this can include lamb and beef and bison. There's some positives to this. Number one, it's a complete protein, and there's very few people who have allergies against this meat. The negatives are that it's a little bit harder to digest for some people if they get a little older. Okay, because their stomachs, it takes a good digestive system to digest red meats. One way that you can do this is just to chew it longer and also have a smaller piece instead of a Texas-style steak. Okay, the drawback is that not all of it's usable or bioavailable. So we digest a good portion, but not the whole thing. There's other types of protein that are a little bit more bioavailable, but this is not a bad thing. People are freaked out about it, but really what you should be freaked out about is the commercial factory farm beef, because there are so many antibiotics, hormones, and even the grains that they feed these animals are all GMO, especially like the soy and the corn. So if you're going to consume red meat, you're going to have to do the grass-fed or organic or that has a higher omega-3 fatty acid, or pasture-raised. Okay, so that's the best way to consume meat. But the problem is going to a restaurant, so be careful with that because of those antibiotics. Poultry, chicken, turkey, easier to digest, less expensive than red meat. Unless it's organic, you're getting a large amount of arsenic and formaldehyde. I'm sorry, that's what's in there. They use formaldehyde for the feed for poultry as a binder, and it's legal. I don't know why. They're even using Prozac for these chickens to chill them out, so the meat is more tender because they're so stressed out because they're factory farmed. Antihistamines, Benadryl, caffeine. This is crazy. So when you go out to dinner and you consume chicken, or you go to a fast food place, or you go to the grocery store, realize that unless you're doing the organic, you're getting all this crap in here. So organic is non-GMO feeds, free range. Use smaller farms, like a small farmer, from a local place that is around your neighborhood is a lot better. And then I'm going to talk about eggs down here, but I just want to mention, since they're connected, is it the chicken or the egg? Well, let's talk about the chicken. Egg yolks are very, very healthy for you. It's almost as if it's a multivitamin mineral, and eggs are probably the most perfect food that you can eat. You can pretty much live on eggs. But the problem is you want to have them organic. If the egg yolk is organic and pasture-raised, if it's really good, and these chickens are eating like a lot of the grass and other types of feed that's not all grain, GMO grain, then the yolks will be very bright orange. Okay? So I think there's a really good one called the Shenandoah Valley eggs, if I'm not mistaken. I'll actually put a link down here. I'll actually find that the type of eggs that I eat, and I'll put a little link underneath it. But anyway, we have the egg yolks should be bright, and when you crack them, they should be kind of hard to break, not so flimsy and easy. That just means there's more calcium in the shells. Okay, egg yolks that are grass-fed have a lot of vitamin K2. That's good for the arteries. And then one of the best quality proteins, very nutrient dense, but if it's not organic, there's a lot of antibiotics and hormones. Okay, so again, we want the grass-fed. I like the small farms. It's a little more expensive, but if you're paying even $5 for a dozen, that's not expensive. I mean, you pretty much only eat 2, 3, 4 eggs at a time, and you can get quite a few meals out of that. So it still comes out pretty good. It's a high quality protein. I like eggs the best out of everything. Okay, so now poultry, and then we talk about fish. High quality protein, no carbs, great omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, so fish is really good. But if it's farm raised, there's higher amounts of mercury, there's lower omega-3 fatty acids, there's other problems, other things they put in the feed, and dioxins. So we want to consume wild-caught fish as the ideal scene, okay? All right, pork, highly digestible, not any worse than the red meat or poultry because of all this stuff right here. Very high in vitamin B1, but you want to avoid pork from third world countries because they pretty much eat garbage and waste. High antibiotic injections unless it's organic. So if you consume pork that is free range, but it's very rare to find it, I don't think there's a problem with it. If that's a clean animal, I do not think there's a problem with it. Compared to this, I mean, I don't know why people would have chicken and not pork. They think it's a dirty animal. These are the dirty animals right through here, both of these, unless it's pasture-raised, farm, unless it's not farm, factory farm. Okay, let's talk about dairy. Dairy, most milk is cooked at 160 degrees. It's kind of a dead protein, and there's a lot of problems with it, hormone-wise, antibiotic-wise. If you can find raw milk from a farmer, that's great, but in our state, it's illegal, so that's a problem. So there's a lot of people are allergic to it, to the casein protein, and also the lactose intolerant, and also pasteurization destroys most of the nutrition. Okay, so milk by itself is not good, but when you ferment the milk and you make yogurt, that's a little bit better because you're getting the friendly bacteria. So fermentation increases the protein amino acid content and the microbes that'll help your gut. So, but yogurt is a little bit higher in carbohydrates than cheese. So I would recommend, if you're trying to lose weight, do more cheese than yogurt. Okay, so we want to do whole milk yogurt. Don't buy the low-fat yogurt. Don't buy the no-fat yogurt. It's hard to find it. And I don't know why people are taking the fat out. That's the best part, nutrition-wise. You have all these fat-soluble vitamins in there, but it's not going to put weight on you. So I always go for the whole milk with the cream on top, if you can find it. Cheese, very high-quality protein. I'm not talking about Velveeta, though. I'm talking about European cheeses that you can get from Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or some other store that has cheese that is not with hormones, that are grass-fed cows or sheep or goat cheese in other places like France, Switzerland, Australia. They all have really good cheeses that are grass-fed. And so that's what I consume. Higher protein, very low sugar, very low allergies in a high-quality cheese, by the way. And there's no hormones or antibiotics. So I do consume cheese, and yes, I am from Wisconsin. So that's a good source. Kefir is way better than yogurt. It's a sour type of fermented drink. It's less sugar, more microbes. Make sure you get the grass-fed. That's the best. And you're good to go. We talked about eggs. Soy. It's a high protein food. If it's fermented, it might be okay in small quantities if it's organic, unless you're trying to reduce estrogen. But typically, most people are highly allergic to it. It's one of the most destroyed products because I think over 90% of all the soy is genetically modified. So that's the problem. So you would have to get organic. And most of the diet programs use soy protein isolates, which is really bad. It's in Morningstar. It's in a lot of the prepackaged foods. And that creates major problems in our digestive system and in our livers. So I do not recommend it. And so we want to avoid soy unless in small quantities if you want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I think if you've tried everything and you're menopausal and you have hot flashes and nothing's working for the hot flashes, take some fermented organic soy. I have no problem with that in small amounts. It will help you. Okay. Chlorella. That's kind of like a algae, and it's a plant protein, very complete, but because it's grown on lakes, it can pull some toxins from that lake. So that's one of the problems in chlorella. Can detoxify your body. So a lot of times people, when they consume it too much, they can detox and get a detox reaction. The other problem, the drawback, is it's very, very expensive. But you can have it in small amounts. Okay. Spirulina is a good source of protein too, very available. It doesn't have any cell wall, so it goes in like a rocket ship, but it can also pull toxins, and it's like $15 to $80 a pound with protein. So it's a little more cheaper to have some of these other proteins up here. And it tastes like grass and seaweed. Okay, hemp protein. Okay, so that's similar to our blood protein. It's a good source of protein. It's not very complete, but it has some protein, but it does create some bloating, unfortunately. So that's kind of the drawback. So that's pretty much my summary of the protein. I pretty much consume some red meat, grass-fed poultry, some fish. I even do occasionally eat pork if I find it, but not too much. I do a lot of cheese and eggs, and I do kefir. That's what I do.